working on a radio for this thing. Now the factory dash is cut for one. It has this blank here. But I didn't want to put anything newer in it. And even the old universal radios, there'd be gaps, and the shaft holes are way out here. It's kind of a goofy size. So I kind of racked my brain trying to figure out what would be the best approach for this. There's the hidden amp and a Bluetooth connection, just do it off your phone. But I still wanted to just be able to hop in and listen to the radio, you know, and I kept going back to regular AM FM radio with Bluetooth and all the other options, just for a little extra versatility, because sometimes you get in, it's a short trip. You don't want to sit there and make sure your phone pairs everything else. So what I did here is I built this bracket. Regular DIN size radio fit in there. I had to set it back a ways because of the hinge system here and the latch, and still make room for the faceplate when you close it. So I built this bracket. I built that last fall. Just kind of put it together, got it fitted in there, looked nice. The only problem was the vent duct here hits on the top corner right there, so I'm gonna have to do some folding. I got the vent out right now. This is the vent that sits up there, and I'd have to either take a corner of that out, modify that a little bit, or modify something that's not original, which always best to do that. So if you look up there, right up in this corner here, I got a mark made where it hits. That's way up there. So I kind of penciled in a line here, and I'm going to fold that over kind of at an angle, so it'll kick up, it'll avoid that duct, and everything should be good to go. Now if you're doing something like this in an old truck, I'd highly recommend getting a marine grade radio. This is all new glass in here, new rubbers and everything else, but in a heavy rain, even in a lighter rain, sometimes water will get in between these channels here and it'll leak down and pool up, and I didn't want to have to worry about that. Well, granted, I mean, if it gets submerged in water, that's a completely different story, but just something just in case. And there's a little rail that runs down here, and this plate actually sits down on that, and I got another little tab bent here, which see that I got that off there, but there's a mount here and here for that, and I'm utilizing that mount. Right there, I'm going to drill a hole through it. Now the original glove box in here was made out of cardboard. You can buy aftermarket replacements for them, repops. But I don't really need a glove compartment either. But it had these mounting holes here, so I'm going to drill a hole on each one of those and down there. So I got 3 good points of contact here, and pretty stout piece of steel that I used. So the only reason I'd really need the glove compartment per se is for my license and registration. But I came up with this idea here. I'll show you. There was this flashlight mount on the steering column when I got the truck, and I did some research, and I found that these old ash flashlights fit perfect in those. It's very period correct for the truck. I mean, it's still got the wrapper on it. But what I did was threw my license and registration in here. So if I ever need it, there it is. Just a fun little unseen mod that I did, I guess. Looks good up there. Works perfect. Don't need anything else. So I'm going to take this out now, and I'm going to cut the corners of that and bend that down and see what we got. It's going to be a little trial and error here, but here's my mark here. I'm just going to go off of that line, notch these corners, bend that over, and then I can fold these tabs over the top of that if I need to, just to kind of pull everything together. Here's my little mountain tab on the bottom side. And I got my holes marked. I'm going to have to remark those, so I'm just going to rub them off for now. But yeah, really simple design. I just put this in the press, or put this in the vise and pounded it over flat, and took a piece of flat stock, set it on there and pounded it just to get it as nice and straight as I could, I guess. So let's get that bent and see how she fits in there. All right, so I got it notched enough where when it folds over, it's actually coming through the inside of this, and I didn't want to cut straight down here because I'd leave too much of a gap. This will, coming in at an angle like that, eliminates that gap, and I'm able to fold this over right inside of this without having a gap on this side wall here. So I'll get that marked out better and get that folded over and see what we got. Got a little chunk of aluminum that fit right in there. Perfect straight edge. There's my line. I'll go put that in the vise and pound her over. When you're bending things over like this, you want to keep that line visible, because when you bend it, that line will be made up in the bend itself. So be sure you're leaving yourself a little bit of extra room there. And if I took two chunks of steel that were the same width, it'd make a lot better bend, but I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way and do a little bit at a time. Got a nice bend on it there. You know, pounding on this, you get some dimples and divots and whatnot. When I get this where I want it, I'll sit it flat and kind of pound the surface out a little better to get rid of them little imperfections. But the nice thing about doing something like this is it's adding a little character to the looks of it also. So it ain't gonna hurt nothing in my particular situation here. ages it a little. And when I get done with this, I'm going to kind of patina match the interior, just so it kind of all blends together and it looks like it's something that should have been there to begin with. So I'm going to leave this at an angled bend here and go test fit it in the truck, see what we got. That looks pretty nice. Actually makes it flow a lot better. It's nothing you can see from staring at it, but if you're sitting down here, now you got that taper coming up that just kind of fills in the empty voids that were there. But I'm gonna put this up there and see if we got enough clearance to get past that. It's close, but we need to come down and actually it's hitting on my ear. That might go. It's just hitting on this ear right here. I'm gonna maybe cut that off. I thought about folding it, but if I leave it at that angle there, I can just angle that right up and match that. Like that. We'll see if that's enough clearance for me. Oh, she's just touching. I mean, I could literally screw that down and it would be fine, but I think I'm gonna give her a little bit more of a bend just to be on the safe side. Okay, I'm gonna lay this down and flatten that out a little bit. She kind of got a little wonky on me. That's pretty good there. I'll set something up later that sits inside of this so I can lay it down and really get it smooth, but for test fitting right now, this should work pretty good. Okay. That's right there, but just a touch more. Actually, I gotta cut that little bit off. There we go. I rounded this a little bit too. I mean, it's literally hitting right at that point, so hopefully that's enough to do it for me. Say that looks pretty good. That should work out nice. Okay. Now I'll cut this ear off here like I did the other side and just kind of smooth this out and pound it out a little bit, get rid of any of them divots. Clean up that marring a little, and then put it back in and double check my holes here, start over. I can drill them out for my mounting points, and I think she's ready for paint. That should work. I even got a couple spots where I pounded it that almost looked like it was pitting at one point, rust, so that kind of adds a little character to it. I like that. I'll put it back in and I'll get my holes marked so I can drill them out. Should be ready for paint. That should work. Now, since that's where my hole needed to be, it was offset on how I had that, and it's going to bug me. I'll probably lose sleep at night, so I'm going to measure this out and cut this little bit off here just so it's centered. Okay. Much more gooder, maybe round these corners a little bit too for looks. There. Good to go. Just throw some paint on this bad rag. I'm going to start out with some Rust-Oleum self-etching primer. And this actually matches the color of the dash pretty good, minus the rust and patina look to it. So I'm going to start out with this as a base, and then I'm going to kind of blend in a few other colors just to make it look more natural when you open up that glove compartment door. That should work. Let that dry for a little bit here. On the edges here, it's already starting to dry. The stuff works pretty quick, so. It's only been a couple minutes here, but it's already dry. So if we can get to it. Got this Rust-Oleum. It says multicolored textured. This is autumn brown, I believe. Yep. Part number 223523. And I mean, it's got a rough textured feel, obviously, but it almost gives it the effect like rust is starting to form on it and whatnot. So spray that on there, just little dashes here and there, just to kind of give it that effect like it's been rusting throughout the years. A little windy here. I had a couple other cans in the garage. I might have used one of these. This is matte hammered black 300607, and then another one that's forged hammered. It's a burnished amber, number 271480, and I don't remember which one I used on my heater controls before, but we'll dump a little bit of this on there and see what that looks like. And maybe this stuff that I just sprayed on a little bit in the background won't hurt nothing. That stuff's dry already too. It can knock down the high spots a little bit. It might add to it. That's a little better. And I'm just giving it short bursts here and there to give it that spattered look, I guess you could say. You just barely got to touch the nozzle there just so it kind of spats it out. Now, I believe I used just a touch of this. This is warm caramel satin, part number 334083. Satin warm caramel. And I threw a little bit of that on the last one I did, just to give it a little bit of a brown in it. But this multicolor texture stuff already gave it a fair amount. But I'm just gonna see what this does here. Way too much. Now with that all on there, go back and just give it a light dusting of this again, just to kind of tame it down and mask it. You still want that color to shine through, but you want it to be faint. You don't want to do this heavy at all. Just enough to look like it's bleeding through. And you can't really mess this up. I mean, if you get a little too much of something, you go back over it with the other. That don't look too bad. Probably shouldn't have touched it right there, but I did. Oh well. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'll give this a couple minutes to dry here and we'll move back over to the truck and see what it looks like in there. Still not perfectly dry, but let's see what we got here. Oh no! Okay. So, it's not bad, but it looks a little too fake. I need to get some more of this bleeding brown in there. I mean, it kind of matches the door here, but kind of culture shock when you open it up at the same time. So, see if we can't get a little bit more of this rust color in it. Let's see. Let's throw a little squirt of the burnished amber in. I got any left. Yeah. This might get speckly on me, but we'll try it. There's some nice splotches. Besides the brown, the darker splatter in there looks good, but the brown is just looking too fake. Or the caramel, whatever you call it. I also have this can of some red oxide primer. Gonna try putting a little speckle of that on there. That's Krylon part number RTA 9204. It's ruddy brown red oxide primer. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'd be better off putting some on a rag and kind of smearing it on there and then blending over it. I mean, I could put some acid on there and actually make it rust if I wanted to, but I'm not that fancy. Wonder if maybe a Scotch pad would work. An old dirty wore out Scotch pad here. It looks more like it has chicken pox now. When you try too hard, it's usually when it doesn't turn out. If you're just messing around and spraying, that's usually when you get something you like. And you can never do it again. But let that dry, see what we got. Well, I grabbed the radio I had and threw it in here just to test it out, see what it looks like. After I got done painting it, it was still a little bit too dark for matching this here. I had this old Mopar touch-up spray paint stuff off of my old 2010 Laramie. Just a silver, just something to lighten it up a little bit. You can't really see much of it, but after I kind of splotched some of that on there, I let it dry and I took some 600 grit sandpaper and just kind of went over it a little bit, a little heavier in different spots, kind of give it that darker effect in some areas, and then I hit it again with that Scotch pad. I don't know if the camera is actually picking up all the detail in this, but it does actually look pretty good. You can kind of see in the corners it has that rust look to it. Down here looks like it's kind of pitting a little bit along these edges. But I'm gonna throw it in here and see how it looks up against the dash. I'm just gonna use these vent screws now just to hold it in place. it doesn't look too bad in there. It's far from a perfect match by any means, but it breaks it up enough where it's got some depth to it. Doesn't look like a bare piece of metal, and it doesn't look like it was just spray painted and stuck in there. It's got some good texture. I think it looks pretty nice. In the future, I might do some sampling with some acid and try to rust out a piece of metal. See if I can get something to match this a little bit better. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not too terribly concerned about it. And for what this is, I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely not a perfect match for the original patina or anything like that, but honestly, the texture of it and the roughness, it looks like an old piece of metal. It pretty much what I was going for. This piece that I did, this was out of a parts truck. I had a completely different heater in here, just the little barn doors, the basic. This is the deluxe heater, they call it, the fresh air vent. So I took this out of one of my parts trucks, and it was spray painted like a royal blue. So I actually patinaed that, if you heard me referring to the first time I did it or whatever in the video. But this actually turned out pretty good. It looks a lot closer, I guess you'd say, to what I had going on there. And that's what I was trying to go for with this, but it kind of turned into a whole different animal, which is fine. I mean, this is something you're always seeing. It's out there. Back here, it would have rusted different anyways. So, I mean, there's no wrong way to do it, but I think it turned out pretty good for what it is. I'm going to put some different screws in here. Maybe some flathead style, something old like this. I'll take maybe some screws out of my parts truck and put those in here. Keep it looking old and original. I'm not going to wire it up or anything right now. I still have to make speaker pods here, down here, and on the other side. I'm not sure if I'm going to do some fiberglassing or what I'm going to do right now, but I'll definitely make a video on that next. Besides the waterproof aspect of this marine radio here, another thing I liked about it was they have wired remotes that you could hook up to these and mount it somewhere closer. So, I mean, this door doesn't even need to be open. They make a gauge style remote, and actually like the same size as this. I thought about doing a second pod here, possibly, or mounting it somewhere else, maybe on the steering column, pod mount there, somewhere a little bit more discreet, because they still look modern. I think they have them in an all black style, and they have a silver style too. And maybe I could take the silver one and kind of rough it up a little bit, add a little of this to it, just so it blends, but still has the rubber buttons on it and whatnot. But I mean, the radio itself is hidden. I could probably hide a small remote like that somewhere. So, well, I think that's a wrap for this one here. Another project checked off the list. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate y'all watching. Till next time.